I can remember during the 80s and early 70s I was so unhappy in life. I was unhappy with being locked up all the time in institutions. I was unhappy being in prisons. I was unhappy being on drugs. I was unhappy about everything in my soul, and that unhappiness led to a life of a second-rate existence because I wasn't happy within myself. My life wasn't happy, and that made my existence very unfulfilling. I didn't comprehend that my unhappiness had a part to play in how I was liking life or not liking my life, until in '89, after I went through rehab, I started to understand that I could change, and it was me as the problem in my life. It wasn't anybody else. It wasn't everything I used to externalise, other people, police informants, prison officers for turning the keys on me and locking me in prison, judges for giving me prison sentences. It was everybody else's fault why my life was a cataract of disaster. And in '89, when I finally realised that it was nobody else's fault, it was my decisions and actions and my behaviour that was manifesting the life that I was living. That's the truth, and that's the honest choice in understanding I finally had power over that. I was making all the wrong choices and all the wrong decisions, and I had an attitude that supported that. I was a victim. I was at the mercy of other people. It was poor me. It was I couldn't do things because of other people. I couldn't overcome addictions. I couldn't better myself. I didn't have a clue that any of this that I'm talking about related to me having the ability to better myself as a human being. I just couldn't comprehend it. I didn't think that was incorporated or was a reflection of me being happy or unhappy. But when I realised it was a reflection of it, I just got so excited that I had the ability to do something about it. You know, like the mind is a really, really powerful tool, and it can keep you locked in a prison, or alternatively, it can give you enormous freedom. But what I found was that it was old belief systems that kept me locked into a mind that was limited. I had to break those belief systems and understand that those old beliefs of blaming everybody, I was a victim, it's everybody else's fault why my life is the way it is, took no responsibility for my choices and my actions in my life. And those beliefs just created attitudes and behaviours from that which created my life. And I couldn't believe that I had created the life that I had been living. I was shocked when I realised that I wasn't just responsible for what I had done and how I was living, but I had the power to change it by changing myself, by seeking support from other people and getting new information about ways to cope, and getting new information on articulating my thoughts and my feelings, and being honest about my internal dialogue, and sharing that with counsellors and psychologists and other people, and getting feedback from other people about how I could improve how I'm conducting myself in my life and how I'm managing that stuff. That was enormous change, and you can't put a price on that kind of change because it's lifelong change. It's you just can't buy that, and it is so secure and it is so powerful that it's life-changing stuff. And the only people that don't believe that is the people that don't believe they're accountable for it, or they're responsible for it, or their behaviour or attitude doesn't have to be brought into account and looked at, or their decisions and choices are fine, and all their actions are all good. They haven't got anything to look at, so they're good. Well, if that's the case, and I'm not saying that's not true, because people's truth are people's truth, and that's what we live in. But if you've got nothing to fix, and if you've got nothing to sort out within yourself, then there's nothing to really live for. Like, what's the purpose of a life if you're not educating yourself, if you're not growing, if you're not realising new things about yourself, if you're not maturing, if you're not overcoming addiction, if you're not overcoming behaviours that you're not happy with, or you feel guilty about, or you feel ashamed about? Like just staying there is not living. Not feeling good about yourself is not living. And the only way to overcome that stuff, through my experience, is to own it. And when you own it, you give yourself an opportunity to get support, and you give yourself an opportunity to get help, and that's how you fix yourself. But without that, there's nothing to fix. And I'm sure there's people out there that live a life where they don't need anything to fix, and that's all good. But if you want to live a life of what you feel deep down in your heart that you want, there is hurdles, and there is things that we have to overcome and manage to get to the promised land with that. Like, if that wasn't the case, then we wouldn't even have an internal dialogue. So if you want to look at changing things in a life, then try and have a good look at yourself, you know. Try and find the courage that you can overcome. Start giving yourself positive affirmations every day. Start listening to positive things on YouTube or in the car, podcasts. Like, just drown yourself in stuff that uplifts you and stuff that gives you tools to, you feel like you got hope after you listen to something, it inspires you, or you really enjoy it. Like, that's the stuff that will help people change. So you got to make the effort also cognitively, and that means like you're not going to change overnight, you know. It takes a long time to change things, but start the journey of change, you know. Start the journey as quick as possible, because the quicker you can start the journey of change, the quicker your life improves, man. It really does, and I'm a living example of that, and I'll preach that to the day I die, because I know there's a lot of power in it, and I know it works, and I know it's got amazing benefits for not just me but for the human race, because I have got the information that I've needed from other people. So there's a lot of good information out there to help people. Have a good day, and yeah, look after yourself. Beautiful day on the Gold Coast. As you can see, look at that beautiful ocean. And yeah, you're powerful beyond what you can comprehend, you know. Like, we have the power to shift. We have the power to make a difference in our lives and make changes. We just got to be really focused and have had enough of the past. So having enough of the past is the best thing that could ever happen to you. Keep moving forward. You take care now. Look after yourself.